think we are good to go. Hey everybody, Warren Lorenz is the CEO of Gimmicks. After my recent podcast with my buddy from the Active Day Trader, I received a lot of interest in my story and how I was able to find mentors that brought me to that aha moment in trading. So I wanted to reach out to everyone in the TechMeets Trader community and share with you something I think you're going to find significant value in, which is how to find a trading mentor without falling for gimmicks. Now, to be clear, my goal is to share my experience, nothing more. I want to introduce you to a member of the TechMeets Trader community and my personal mentor who has helped me find exciting trade ideas, develop the skills needed to become a successful mentor, and make members of our community a boatload of money. And if you stay until the end, just so everybody knows, I'm going to share an offer that is unique for the TechMeets Trader community. For some of you, it will make perfect sense, and you'll do what I did and jump right in. For others, this may not be a good fit, and that's totally cool. I'm just here to share my experience. And at this point, you may be asking, but what makes this different? Well, to be frank, this is more of a thank you and testimonial than anything. The one thing you'll walk away with is a clear path to trading guidance that you can use as a foundation for better trading disciplines, risk management skills, and a consistent edge in the markets. I knew finding mentors was a great decision when I started seeing the effect on my day-to-day. Imagine this. You're vacationing throughout Europe, and the positions that you believe in so much, you still have. And you're just waiting for your trades to play out. Kind of a set it and forget it strategy. You travel for a few days, and when you check in on your brokerage account, you realize you just paid for the whole vacation, rent, food for the month, and much more. This is what happened to me last year. I took 2 weeks to travel Europe with my girlfriend, and I normally never trade while I'm away. I set limit orders, I defined my risk and reward, and let the trade run its course. I realized then I'd finally internalized how to research and be confident in a position so I didn't need to stare at it all day. It certainly wasn't my first time, but this was different. I had zero anxiety, and when it works, it really works. To make a long story short, my bond position, we paid for my girlfriend and I's position in or trip rather to Portugal, Spain, and Italy, which had never happened to me before. It was absolutely crazy. So, who am I? I'm Warren Lorenz. I'm the CEO and co-founder of TechMeets Trader, which is a free social community for over 3,000 active investors. At TechMeets Trader, we share trade ideas, host live trading rooms, chat rooms, and investment groups with the goals of connecting do-it-yourself investors like never before. I've been trading for the past 6 years and actively investing in stocks, options, futures, and cryptocurrencies. Before TechMeets Trader, I was the vice president of finance for a software firm in San Francisco, where I helped them raise a little over $1.3 million for a C round of venture financing. And before that, I was a financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual, where I passed both FINRA's Series 7 and Series 66 licensing exams. It was after my investment advisor representative licensing that I just mentioned to you, where I dove deep into the financial markets and never looked back. Like many investors in our community, I'm just an everyday guy who realized that if I wanted to make the real money, I needed the practical training that the licensing process or the firms at least I worked for at the time just didn't give me. And that's why I was looking for a mentor. I wanted someone I could work with in my spare time and learn the skills necessary to transition to a full-time trader. And like many of you, I was a skeptic. There are so many bullshit gurus out there between the pompous penny stunk pump and dump educators, the gap and go small cap groups, and Forex scams. It's honestly sometimes sickening. I remember thinking, is anyone truly in it to help others? Was there anyone who had made their success trading and educated as a way to actually help others achieve the same success? Jonathan was one of the first mentors I started working with, and is the founder of Active Day Trader, one of the best education services I actually know. So now Jonathan is one of the most respected traders across the CBOE, which is the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, and the CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or also the Merc. Unlike many others, he built his success starting off as a market maker and transitioned to proprietary trading, equity index, and fixed income futures. And this dude is legit. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy is legit. Throughout my time with him, I've watched him make millions and millions of dollars. But before before Active Day Trader, Jonathan was a partner of a fixed income fund where he not only led the trading team, but he also grew it from 7 traders to over 250 before successfully selling the company. Imagine that. He had 7 traders underneath his wing at the time, and he grew it to over 250 before another bigger fund came in and write him a nice check to acquire his business. Now that would be nice, right? He also manages a family office hedge fund out of Chicago and is a family man. He loves baseball and a no-nonsense type of guy. Think about most gurus. Do you normally have this much access to these types of individuals? Think about when a trade goes against you. Would you agree that it'd be valuable to ask someone like Jonathan a question? And now you're probably like me, making the majority of your investments the right way. Managing risk, defining entries and exits, scanning for opportunity trading setups. And I'm sure some of you have also had a lot of success, found some strategies that work, others that don't, and would like to make take a few investment decisions back if you had the chance. I know I would when I first started, and I still would, right? I mean, it would always be great to hit the replay button. Maybe you're a profitable trader like me, who can navigate the financial markets, find opportunities on your own, and do okay. But I ask you this. Could you be doing better? I know I'm always looking to do better, and I've also made a lot of mistakes on my 6-year journey actively managing my accounts. Too often, I see investors in my community, TechMates Trader, making simple mistakes, and if they only knew what they didn't know, I guarantee they'd improve their profitability. All too often, I see and have also been guilty of stopping myself out early, letting emotions impact my trading decisions, spending countless hours looking for the holy grail trick to get rich quick. Or even see people allocate, and this one actually kills me, I've seen people allocate 100% of their portfolio into a single position. For example, like a risky biotech. I have a good buddy of mine who actually just put his entire portfolio in a risky biotech stock called Mankind. I think it was like 10 grand. I'm like, guys, we can't be doing that. All right, we're gonna save ourselves some trouble, and don't do that. But there are times when I literally cringe looking at some of the makes made by investors who are simply gambling, looking at a few charts, crossing your fingers, and hoping the trade works out, which is not a winning strategy. And too many investors these days I'm seeing are without a trading plan, hover around break even, lose money due to their emotions, and fall victim to what's on CNBC. Guys, it doesn't work. And they gamble. For a while, I did okay on my own. But when I hit a rough patch, I lost for months. I thought I'd figure it out again, and I lost more. The profits I'd made from my long-term investment portfolio were no more. I worked so hard to build up this account, and it was cut almost in half. I was embarrassed. I was frustrated. I wanted to quit. How was everyone else seemingly getting it except me? I've been good at everything I've ever done, but trading during this time, it was humbling. The hard way includes losing money, trading without mentors, learning from failure, and doing all of your own homework. Trading is like a chess game that never ends. When you see a chess master make a move, that move represents a sequence of calculations already evaluated and embedded deeply within the master's brain. Same analogy with trading. A professional trader never makes his move unless a position is well studied and a proper edge is defined. And I'm sure you want the easy way that helped me achieve consistency and also hit home runs, because we're not just guessing here. It's about protecting your account, learning, and being more confident. For example, let's look at ticker Okta from a few weeks ago. This was an IPO lockup period expiration trade. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. This was an IPO lockup period expiration trade, and Okta's lockup period ended on October 7th. An additional 11 million shares were coming to the market compared to the 13 million shares currently outstanding in the float. This is 80% of the outstanding supply coming back into the public market. The stock IPO'd at 17 and had it traded that low since. Imagine how badly some of the insiders wanted to take a piece of their portfolio and profit off the table. If you were that individual and you were invested in only that one stock, wouldn't it make sense to de-risk a little bit and diversify? How would you feel? I've been in trades before, but this one, I had a reason. I really believed in it, and I knew I had an edge, which ultimately led me to over a 72.5% gain on the trade. Another example of the lockup trade from this month is ticker XRF, China Rapid Finance, which led me to over 246% gains overall. Now, China Rapid Finance is a Chinese ADR actually, and it had its IPO, I believe, on April 28th of 2017. At the time, the company had over 10 million shares available to trade at a price of $6 in which they IPO'd. And like many companies, XRF kept a large percentage of shares restricted from trading until a predetermined time after the IPO date. In XRF's case, the lockup period for those restricted shares were 180 days after the April 28th IPO date, which is October 25th. So as you can see, on October 25th, 39 million previously restricted shares were no longer restricted. These shares are owned by insiders, and for the first time since the IPO, these newly restricted shares will be available, for sale on the open market. As of the date when Jonathan wrote this, XRF was trading at $11, and insiders got stock at $6. Now it's almost 100 days. Imagine 180 days later, and the stock has nearly doubled. So all those restricted shares are looking at enormous profit that many are obviously tempted and locking in. And if you were an insider, would you sell? Jonathan had a hunch of those insiders would be thrilled to double their money in less than 6 months. And bam, 246% gain of my personal capital. This isn't Jonathan's capital. This is my trades, right? This is from my experience. This is why I'm here sharing it with you. It's because I'm sharing with you my personal experience. Let's see. Bonds, same thing. This trade was easy. On the top left, you can see I was selling my fourth contract on the 5-year bonds. This is 5-year bond futures, so the U.S. Treasury 5-year bond futures. And when bang, bonds started selling off, and I was able to ride this trade to over 119 ticks. Now, you can actually see me taking profit right here. Take profit, take profit, take profit. As it's taking profit in positive territory. Did I, take some profit a little early? Of course, I actually did. I probably could have waited a little bit longer, but I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to take this return. I had 4 contracts times $7.50. So $7.50 a tick, right? So multiply that times 119 ticks, and I made a few grand off of this trade alone. This wasn't the one that paid for my Euro trip, though. Keep in mind, this was actually recently. This was in September, and I mean, it's a great example of being in the right locations and finding a good, solid trade. The thesis behind this was not only relative value trading relationships on the yield curve, but also the fact that my girl, Janet Yellen, had literally given us the answers to the test, guys. The feds are raising rates. Okay. That means bond prices are going down, right? Yes. And so wouldn't it make sense to short any rallies going into talks of rising interest rates? Well, we thought it made sense. And last but not least, in my personal opinion, the trade of the year, Overstock.com. Now, I actually didn't get into this trade since I was focusing on managing, other positions. But I did see Jonathan and many other community members within TechNewsTrader nail this trade with over 1,000% returns. As you can see throughout the video, Jonathan explains his video demonstrates. Oops, the video actually isn't playing, which I really thought it was. But as you can see throughout the video, Jonathan explains his edge, demonstrates which contracts he liked, and sent the opportunity over my way. From there, you'll see the follow-through from the 34.15 price level that he originally highlighted, and right now he's highlighting those 35 calls for $3, mid-market $3.10. So ultimately, from there, you'll see it follow through from $34.15 to $56.10, right? What? $56.10? Watch this, guys. Pulling it up right now. Let me show it to you. Bam, $56.10 just a few days later, right? He was highlighting that 34 area, pulled back just a little bit before really gapping and going. Based on this example, if you bought just one of the 35 straight calls on the market for $310, which he actually highlighted a little bit earlier in the video, that $310 would end up being worth over $2,200 at the high of the chart presented in the video. And that's just intrinsic value, not even time value. Look, right there. Look at that, 1,218% returns. He got in at $1.42. Now, that's really $142 because that's $1.42 premium per contract, right? Because each call is 100 contracts, so you multiply that premium per share times 100. It was $142, but now, he is locking in profits, and you could see before he sold some spreads. Actually, he sold some calls against his position, and guaranteed some locked-in profit. And lastly, you can see the success the others had too. Look at them all celebrating. It's not just me, guys, that's been here, having success with Active Day Trader and Jonathan Rose. No, this is like a whole community affair, and it's working. I watched Josue Martinez. He had 560% returns that I know. Look at Stephen Williams, and also another great member of our community. There's, let's see, Mark and Paul, 600% returns. Great job, Paul. That's just guys, where can you consistently find this type of edge, right? But I will say that the results are not typical. The before examples are based on my experiences and are for education purposes only. Everyone has different results, right? 10 people take the same trade, there are 10 different results. My intention was to show some of my successes within the last, 6 weeks. But what it really is, it's about the quality of the decisions you make. Thinking like a casino, stacking the odds in your favor. The trades with the highest probability are the ones I want to take. Some days I see 3 to 5 great opportunities, while others I sit on my hands. If one opportunity is extremely probable based on the supporting analysis, sure, I'm going to overweight the trade. Otherwise, I look for hitting singles and doubles. Home runs are designed from quality decisions and, of course, a little bit of luck. Nonetheless, the 3 blatantly obvious secrets you already know but need to be reminded about are: Plan your investments before the week starts. Know which price levels you want to take action on and set up your trades. Manage your positions. Protect your account from devastating losses and take profit in positive territory. And learn from the best. Learn from the mistakes of others and don't make the mistake of navigating the markets without collaborating. No one will ever care about your money more than you. So it's up to you to educate yourself to compete amongst the best. It's an us versus them mentality. And this is our invitation for you to join us. The first secret, number one, plan your investments. With the active day trader, Jonathan in particular, he has a Sunday week ahead portfolio that he sends out each week, right, before the week starts. It features 8 to 12 cutting-edge trade ideas. Every Sunday, Jonathan shares his game plan for the week with members in an easy-to-read spreadsheet along with a video explaining each of the 8 to 12 actionable trades. In this example, you're going to see some YRCW, swinging for the fence trades, along with some GDXJ, which is some junior gold miners, right? That's what these two are. Facebook has been a long-term play he's been in. He's got long at $85 and, to infinity and beyond, like he's saying, Buzz Lightyear. I mean, this stock has been on fire. I actually just took profit at like 183 the other day. I had the 125 calls, and I still currently do have the 175 and 150 strike calls, one expiring in January, the 175 calls, and then the 150 calls expiring next May. So we're long Facebook nonetheless. But look at all these trades, guys. You're going to see whether they're bullish or bearish, how these contracts relate to volatility, right? And if you don't know this right now, like, volatility is the most important aspect of trading. It is. That's how you make your money. And you need to be cognizant as to which contracts are long volatility, which contracts are short, so you can keep a balanced portfolio, right? You want to stay balanced. If there's a huge surge up in price in the markets, great, you want to capitalize on that. But also, you want to be protected where if there's a 300-400 point crash in the S&P 500, the major markets, everything's selling off. Well, you want to have that protection, right? So keeping a balanced portfolio is important, and this helps you do so. And this is just on Sunday. On Mondays, he has the futures week ahead, which are some of my favorites. Like I showed you, the outright ZF shorts, which is the 5-year bond futures for U.S. Treasury notes, right? It typically features around 3 to 6 high-level future trades, and every Monday, Jonathan shares his game plan for the week in futures with an easy-to-read spreadsheet, along with the video explaining each of the 3 to 6, actionable futures trades. So you get the bub and the knob actually shown from the week of November 6th. This is actually relative value yield curve trading, and there is not a single person that's based in the retail market that's actually educating on this. Jonathan took this insight alongside his closed-end fund arbitrage tactics and a few other really, really just amazing opportunities and trades setups. Right, he took his knowledge and was able to, from his fixed income proprietary trading shop, where he grew from 7 traders to 250 traders. Like, guys, this works. If you can go a firm from 7 traders, 250 traders, just trading fixed income alone, wouldn't it make sense? Like, that's an edge, right? And if someone has an edge and you don't currently know that edge, wouldn't it make sense to probably, start diving into some research so that you can actually consistently profit, right? It's not just, hey, here's a fish, go eat. It's here's a fishing pole, now learn to fish. Secret number 2, and this is no secret at all, but manage your investments. Guys, we get alerted, Premier member alerts throughout the week. Jonathan shares at least 2 kinds of Premier member alerts throughout the week, which is either actionable new trades opportunities or actionable trade management ideas. And as you can see, in terms of overstock, right, this was just 3 days ago. So, I mean, this presentation was really easy for me to make because simply I had to just go in, to my email and just go through everything I had that I've been following throughout the weeks and just take screenshots. I mean, it was really simple, guys. I mean, look how transparent and clear this is. If you could have someone over your shoulder kind of talking their way through the way they're trading, and then you can compare your underlying theses and see, all right, do they align with them, do they not align with them, right? It's definitely helpful. And most importantly, the advice, right? You're gonna see this is a Tech Meets Trader, a post on Tech Meets Trader from my buddy Matthew Myrick. He was asking Jonathan Rose about AMD, and as you guys probably all know, AMD recently missed earnings, and it sold off, and it sold off hard. It went from $14.20, I believe, and this is just off the top of my head, to like $11 and change. And the fundamentals of the stock, Jonathan likes it, right? So let's talk through this idea together. Let's see if it makes sense, and let's see if we can share some good advice. Secret number 3 is obviously learn from the best with practical training, guys. I mean, if you're not paper trading, and if you have not paper traded to date, you are very likely going to fail, right? And that's what I really had to take a dose of my humble pie, because no one's gonna become rich trading fake money, right? It's not how you become rich, but it is how you learn consistent strategies, and you can experiment with new trading strategies that you don't currently have in your toolbox, and be exposed to other opportunities. For example, I knew that it was very easy to simulate trading stocks, but I didn't really ever actually trade options simulated, and that would be phenomenal when I'm testing various straddles or strangles or even iron condor strategies on stocks that I haven't previously traded, right? Just to get a feel, get a pulse for the way the security moves. And most importantly, guys, the access to over 500 training videos, right? And these are archived premier member training videos, over 500 that I've been able to, follow since I started in the past 2 years. And, I've been finding significant value from this. And guys, I'm not a dumb guy, right? I mean, I know what I'm doing in the markets, and I was very confident on my own, even more confident probably than I should. And then I realized, I can't go and sift through all the information alone. I just don't have the time. It wasn't realistic for me, right? So at least having someone help me do my homework at the caliber in which I'm getting, it makes a lot of sense. Booyah, Jim Cramer interview tomorrow. Nicely done. I was actually, if you guys had seen, I was the podcast right behind Jim Cramer and the Active Day Trader podcast that recently launched. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about me there as well. So it's, I believe, activetrader.com/podcast/Warren Lorenz, and you can go through and check it all out. So the past half hour, what have we been talking about? Wouldn't you agree that it's been a time well spent so far? I mean, of course, we can't cover everything you need in our webinar, but when I last spoke with Jonathan, I asked him if he'd be willing to give the Tech Meets Trader community a special deal. And of course, my buddy Jonathan responded, and I was actually really humbled when he returned the lowest price I'd ever seen alongside one of my favorite position management boot camps. I mean, this is a need to know, guys. This stuff is basic 101. You cannot simply be successful without knowing this stuff, right? So I'm excited to share what you're going to get. And if you act fast, that positional management bootcamp, right, that's a very special deal, so make sure you check that out. And here's what you're going to get. Bam, those week ahead game plans that I mentioned before, both the Sunday week ahead featuring stock and options positions, and then on Monday, you're going to get the futures week ahead, which features all different types of trades using futures. You're going to get premier member alerts, which is updated, price level entries. You're going to get updated portfolio management, considerations, ideas, right? And you're going to have access to bounce ideas off of Jonathan, my personal mentor, right? And guys, this is expensive. This is over $200 or $2,997 value, right? I mean, I paid when I first started a lot of money to get into this, and it was a risk that I had to overcome, but it was because it was saving me money, right? So you're ultimately also gonna get every single month free Premier member only trading, and this is a webinar every single month that teaches a specific type of boot camp, whether it's swinging for the fences, whether it's how to trade biotechs, whether it's how to trade crude oil futures. There are bonds. I mean, my favorite, of course, are actually the bonds. I mean, the bond trades, they make so much sense to me, and it's because that's Jonathan's real bread and butter. And then, of course, access to Jonathan Rose. It says $3,500 value. I really think that this is priceless, right? And the total value, at least being $8,000 to $9,000 easily. I'd be willing to pay that. In retrospect, because I've easily made more than 10 grand from the service that I had in the last year. So it made a lot of sense, like for me, easily. But you're not gonna have to pay that. Right, so because this is a special deal, you're not gonna have to pay that. But most importantly, who has this worked for? This works for hedge funds and prop shops, right? These are designed for professional traders, right? They're dumbed down to guys like me, level where I can understand, right? But the hedge funds and prop shops, they're also working right next to Jonathan, right? It's just the truth. Both active and passive investors. You don't have to be professional. You can be a guy like me who's part-time. I probably trade 2 hours a day maybe if I have the time, right? And it's working beautifully. Investors who are looking to make a change. If you are struggling, you're a hamster running through the hamster wheel over and over and over again, you're sitting around your break even and you're not really going anywhere, and you're banging your head and you spend a bunch of time doing your own homework, well, guys, you need to make a change. You just need to, if you want to be successful, you're gonna have to make a change. So this works for people that are looking to make a change and motivated to take control of their financial future, right? For me, I didn't have another choice. I needed to learn how to trade, or else when I graduated, I was gonna go and work for the man. I was going to go and have to slave through it. I couldn't sleep in it if I didn't want to. I couldn't go on TechMeets Trader social networks for active investors, right? And I couldn't collaborate with people that are like-minded like myself. And so right now, you have two choices. The first one is you can continue to do the same thing and expect different results. This is actually the definition of insanity, by the way. And the second option requires you to invest in yourself and commit to becoming just a little bit better. Make that commitment, right? I've been able to find some of this success, and this is why I'm sharing it with you. This is my experience, nothing more. For some of you, this makes sense. For others, this may not make sense. And that's completely okay. My goal, like I said before, was to share my experience, nothing more. But here's what you're going to get if you're like me and you want to, jump on in. The week ahead game plans, like you mentioned before, the Premier member alerts, Premier member only training, the access to Jonathan Rose, right? But you're also going to get the bonus 5-hour position management training with Donnie Schwartz. Donnie Schwartz used to work with Jonathan and was actually second behind Jonathan in the best, let's say, prize trader at their fund. I mean, Donnie is what they call $1 million a month trader, where he was making $1 million a month trading fixed income futures, and it works, guys. It works. And he comes in and actually teaches you four different presentations with PowerPoints, with explanations. He answers questions for you. I mean, guys, this was probably one of the most beneficial actual boot camps that I paid for. I think it was, at the time, I also got a deal because I know Jonathan, I think I paid like $800 for it, right? You guys are getting it for free. I mean, Guys, you take advantage of this, right? So here's exactly everything what you're gonna get. You're gonna get over $10,000 worth of value, right? And you're not gonna have to pay $10,000. I promise you. You're not going to. But wouldn't it make sense? Right? It does make sense, and you can probably see why funds are paying Jonathan at least 10 grand, even I've heard of 50 grand to go and just consult their funds, right? I mean, you're a single investor, and this is why it makes sense why we're going to knock down this price tag. But if all this did was present you opportunity, would it be worth it? If it taught you how to trade, would it be worth it? If it saved you from costly mistakes, would it be worth it, guys? Would it? And what is financial freedom worth to you? For some it's 1,000, others it's 5, 10, 25, 150, $1 million, whatever it may be. What's it worth? How much would you pay to learn a lifelong lesson? And you can see, like I said before, why it's a good deal at 5 grand. And even 2 grand for the general public. But ultimately, because we are special, you guys can get started now for just $9.97 today. There's actually a bit.ly link that you can actually either copy and paste into your browser right now to get started, guys. I mean, to break down the price a little bit more for you, just so you guys get an understanding as to how big of a deal this is. So 5 hours of position management. I've been through it, like I said. It's an absolute game changer. If we value that at even on a conservative basis with, say like a 80% discount to what's, actually being sold at retail price for, say, $4.97 or even, $3.97, that makes this only approximately, I think, $13 per week, guys, as an estimate. $13 per week. Guys, we have a pro doing our homework every single week for only $13. That's insane, right? Like, it makes sense. And also, on TechMage Trader, I'm going to start a community that we can talk about these trades together with. I've seen all the educators, and Jonathan absolutely crushes it. I mean, I've been a client for over 14 months, and I still will enjoy working alongside him. I recently just purchased this package, and this is round 2. Or maybe this is 3. I'm not really sure. I think this actually might be 3. Holy shit, time goes fast. Finding mentors for me has been one of the best value adds in my trading career.